And welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We are live once again, as we are for all of the Mondays here on the Cowboys Report. Producer Aiden behind the scenes once again as well. We'll discuss all the latest on the Cowboys as they enter the home stretch of their season. So predictions, what record will the Cowboys end up with this year? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. What record will the Cowboys end up with this year? They sit currently at 6-1. They've got 4 games left down the stretch against the Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, and the Giants to wrap up the season, which I think are pretty winnable games. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. 10-6-1 from Brendan. Hey, if you go 10-6-1 and you miss out on the playoffs, I think you'd still be pretty happy with the overall big picture and how you closed out the season. If you do win these next 4 games, and however it looks, and you get wins in all of them, and you do come up just short in the postseason, that's a pretty darn good end of the season. To finish the year 7-1 would be really impressive if you can find a way to make that happen. 9-7-1, 10-6-1, 9-7-1, 10-6-1, 9-7-1, 9-5-2. Which, why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? What did I ever do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve that? Another tie. Just unbelievable. Now I'm trying to do like math on the fly with the ties and playoff stuff. Please no more ties. I can't. I can't do it. I will crash out. I assume 9-7-1 is the right answer, by the way. Like, we're still missing games on some of these. 17 games. 10-6-1. You go 10-6-1 regardless of what happens if you make the playoffs or don't. Like, I feel like that's kind of a big win there. Aiden just threw this one up there. Are ties un-American? Yes, they are. I hate them with a passion. Still kind of wish the whoever was the clock guy for the Cowboys-Packers game, just gave me more home cooking. It was not home cooking at all. At all. So get your votes in. What record will the Cowboys end up with? It's 9-6-2, whatever it is. I don't know. 10-5-2, which isn't even possible. So I guess he must mean 10 or 9-6-2. 10-6-1. Yeah, I hate that we have to have ties on all these. I can't stand it. All right, this is the Super Chat menu on today's show. Any Super Chat is a shout-out. $5, you are into our still-to-be-determined raffle, by the way, for the Cowboys-Vikings game coming up on Sunday Night Football. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries, $50 for a shot, and $100 for the beer bong. A key game tonight for really the entire playoff picture, but also for the Cowboys' very slim, still technically alive hopes. Eagles-Chargers in this one. Who you got? E for the Eagles, C for the Chargers. Get those votes in for me in the comment section of today's show. Of note, it is currently Eagles minus 2.5 is the spread in that one. E for the Eagles, C for the Chargers. Aiden, what you got?
Yeah, I think I just can't overthink this one, and I'm just going to go the Eagles. Like, Justin Herbert, I have no idea. He seems like the one quarterback right now that would be able to just tough this out with his hand injury and still somehow get a win. So maybe the points on the Chargers is a good little play tonight. I'm going to take the Eagles, not going to think twice.
The lack of support that the Chargers have against competent teams has really shown up several times this year. But this is a big game for both those teams. E for the Eagles, C for the Chargers. Brendan, I think, maybe sums it up right. Want C for the Chargers, but probably E for the Eagles. Eagles somehow lose this game, and we're kind of right back into the, maybe they got a chance to do something crazy in the playoffs and make it a competition down the stretch. Of course, the Cowboys essentially have to win every game at this point. They're not going to get in at 9 wins. There's no chance of that. Who you got for Sunday Night Football? C for the Cowboys, V for the Vikings. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Who do you have winning, C or V? Get those votes in for me in the comment section of today's show.
Tom, I feel like
we got Shewa Olanalulu comment, which is just a hell of a pull right there from the fullback. All right, go ahead, Aiden. Sorry, I got distracted.
No worries. I feel like every time this year that I've picked the Cowboys, I have somehow reverse jinxed them. Mm-hmm. That being said, I have to pick the Cowboys because if you don't beat this Vikings team, it's much worse off than we thought. Yeah, I think, again, not going to think twice. Dak's got his back against the wall, knows he needs to win now. I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Get those votes in, C or V. Vikings against by the way, a Commanders defense that is like really bad this year. They had a good game and then kind of came screeching back down to like the three worst defenses in the NFL seem like in not this order, the Bengals, Cowboys, Commanders. Maybe it actually is that order. It's been ugly. So get those votes in. C for the Cowboys, V for the Vikings. Let me know. Vikings did look a lot better. They ran the ball pretty effectively for one of the first times this year. Justin Jefferson's been a bit of a no-show in recent weeks, which feels worth mentioning. And why do I feel like it'll be the get-right game for them? Figure. Matt Temple, $10. If we win out and go 10-6-1, I can still see us winning the division because the Eagles are collapsing. P.S. F the Eagles. Eagles have to collapse still. Eagles come out on top against the Chargers, and we get into elimination scenarios next week, which is not where you need to be if you're the Cowboys. You need help at this point, a good amount of help to be able to keep it alive. But if you get 10 wins, most years that gets you in. Not every year, but most years it does. $5. Option Pawar says, let Dak deal. How much would you say Dak was to blame for the loss against the Lions? Think he was done dirty by the offensive line and the coaching? I think if we're like, he's not blameless, right? Although neither interception was his fault. That hit both guys in the hands. I think the backward pass weirdness with Jake Ferguson was a factor. He's not blameless, but like if we're tiering the order of blame, I feel like we get really far down the ordering before we actually start to blame Dak Prescott for that one. The offensive line did not have a good showing. The tackles were getting worked repeatedly in that game. I thought there was a lot of weird play calls, constantly setting up for third and longs. The run game wasn't great again, by the way. Javonte and the offensive line didn't have much going. I think you're pretty far down the line, frankly, on that front. Now, if you want the Cowboys to beat the Vikings, show it by liking today's video right now. Free, simple, and easy to do. If you want the Cowboys to beat the Vikings, help us out by liking today's show right now. Coming up on today's show, we'll discuss some news, heavy injury focus here on that front for the Dallas Cowboys. Some changes the Cowboys could make to try to save their season. A mailbag as well. 2 ways to get in on the mailbag. You can either super chat or just use hashtag Cowboys to skip the line altogether and get in on the show. And we'll have a Cowboys-Vikings preview for you as well. All of that coming up here on the Cowboys Report. Coming up on the Cowboys Report, we'll discuss the CeeDee Lamb injury latest there and more injury updates. Tyler Guyton, Jadeveon Clowney leading the way on that front. We'll discuss some praise that I think is worth having for Ryan Flanoy with his overall status there. And we will briefly mention the Cowboys playoff slim hopes and dreams as we get closer to the start or to Monday Night Football and how that impacts with the Eagles-Chargers game. Before we get into it, Cowboys have 4 games left to go. What record will the Cowboys end up with? What will be the Cowboys' final record? They currently sit, of course, at 6-6-1. Let me know in the comments section of today's show what the Cowboys' final record will end up being this season. Let's get to the latest here on CeeDee Lamb. As you all know, he suffered a concussion against the Lions. His Week 15 status is currently in doubt. I wouldn't write him off yet. I maybe would have been more inclined to write him off had it been, Week 14 and you have the normal, Sunday to Sunday time. You get the extra days. That does matter there. Brian Schottenheimer had this to say on CeeDee Lamb. Said, he's doing well, progressing nicely. Hopefully things work out like we expect. Lamb has indicated to media, thumbs up and stuff like that he's okay as well. He's still going to have to progress through the protocol, and we're not really going to know what his status in the protocol is until later in the week. I think the Cowboys do think there is a chance he's going to be able to go, which probably means some of his early symptoms are in a much better spot than what they were previously. And the Cowboys need Lamb out there. In terms of actually yards per route run, he has been one of the better players in the NFL. He has been extremely efficient in that area. I think you look at a player who is, despite having, frankly, some bad performances against the Eagles in particular, CeeDee Lamb, among players who have run at least 50 routes this year, is fourth in yards per route run. It's Jackson Smith-Njigba, Puka Nacua, Drake London, and then CeeDee Lamb. And London and Lamb are actually separated by rounding. I think that's the only difference that exists on that front. The drops have been an issue, but Lamb has still been a really impactful high-end player. And if you want to keep those very slim playoff hopes alive, you need CeeDee Lamb out there. So will Lamb play against the Vikings? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Pinned comment, will Lamb end up playing against the Vikings? Go get your predictions in right now. Let's go to Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's got a really good chance to play against the Vikings. He was a true game-time decision against the Lions due to his hamstring injury, and they tried to work him out pregame. He got into limited practice late in the week, just wasn't enough for Clowney to be able to go. I think that little mini-bye will benefit him and allow him to be back out there for the Dallas Cowboys, and they missed him. They missed a lot of things on the defense side in that game, but Clowney was certainly a factor with his absence. He has been one of the most consistent pass rushers for the Cowboys, and he still remains a good edge setter, which the Lions had no issues getting the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and having success on that front. As a veteran piece up front, Clowney has been, along with Ezraku, like the consistent ones against the pass and the run. James Houston has been very impactful with his sacks, but hasn't really been that consistent against the run. And Sam Williams has been an impact special teamer, but hasn't had this breakout as a defender. Cowboys want to keep competing and trying to win games. They will need Clowney back out there. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It is the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff push. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, and that is Prize Picks. They now offer early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. One of the power plays cooked up here by us at Chat Sports for Monday Night Football. A.J. Brown more than receiving yards. I wonder if Kamani Vidal still gets a significant enough workload to get the more than 35.5 yards on the ground. Get in on the action in 45 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas with Prize Picks. Go download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play that first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's go to Tyler Guyton and his injury status here. He had missed the last 2 games, as expected, frankly, with that high ankle sprain. But there is a chance that Guyton is able to return this week, per our old friend Dr. Jerry. Here's what Jerry said. He even acknowledged himself he was Dr. Jerry. My thoughts are that he, meaning Guyton, will be available. That's Dr. Jones talking, and I know you need to take that information, and I know how you need to take the information, i.e. with a grain of salt. Bottom line is, in my opinion, he'll be there. You always got to be careful with Dr. Jerry. His hit rate is not good. Not full-on Arrested Development where the doctor is just like setting you up for failure with what he says, but he's not exactly the most trustworthy source. Always seems to end up being on the very optimistic side in the end. Make no mistake about it, though. A healthy Tyler Guyton is really needed right now for the Dallas Cowboys. They need him out there and back. The blocking numbers per PFF are eye-popping. Now, remember, the snap counts are different here. It's 281 against 650, so we're talking, over double the amount of snaps plus almost another 100 in favor of Tyler Guyton compared to Nathan Thomas. We're talking, 2.25 essentially the amount of snaps. Same amount of sacks allowed, 2 fewer hits allowed by Nathan Thomas. That's it. 10 fewer hurries, but that's not a lot relative to the snap count averages. And the run blocking grade very much in favor of Tyler Guyton. Shoddy was very blunt saying, saying Nate Thomas knows it too. He did not play well in that game against the Lions. I think it's pretty clear you'll want this one back out there, or at least the healthy version of Tyler Guyton. We know how it can be for offensive linemen if they're not quite 100%. But pick your left tackle here. TG for Tyler Guyton, NT for Nathan Thomas. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Let's go to Ryan Flanoy. I want to give him some buzz and some praise because I have been very impressed by the young wide receiver who got cut earlier this year, got back to the practice squad. Cowboys got him back up to the active roster. He's delivered in several games this season. And I think it's pretty clearly, outside of some of your gadgety stuff that you will sometimes do, I think he is very clearly this team's third best wide receiver. Kevontae Turpin can be dynamic at times, but he's just as likely to jump for a pass and drop it and do something wonky there. Flanoy has clearly outplayed Jalen Tolbert. He has clearly outplayed Kevontae Turpin. Jonathan Mingo is doing cardio every time he plays. He's not actually contributing at all. So he didn't mention him kind of at the end of last week. I wanted to make sure we gave him some love, given rightfully, by the way, how mostly negative we were about the Cowboys after the Lions. I thought Flanoy was one of your winners, one of your very limited winners. I feel pretty good about him being your wide receiver 3 next year, along with Pickens and Lamb. If you want to spend another late day 3 pick for depth, whatever, but I don't think receiver is going to be much of a need. For those of you wondering, by the way, contractually is under contract next year, so nothing to worry about that. For more Dallas Cowboys news, rumors, everything else in between, hit that sub button if you haven't already. YouTube.com/Cowboys TV. More free Cowboys videos right here for you on the channel. One of those videos will be an in-depth breakdown tomorrow, Tuesday, if you're not watching it on Monday night when this video goes out, will be a breakdown of the Cowboys' playoff hopes. And they're slim. Make no mistake about it. But technically speaking, they are still alive in the NFL playoff race. It's just really not looking good. Currently, per the NY Times playoff sim, which I like because I can do more like, if this happens, these are their odds. They sit at 8%, which is not good, but they are alive. The Chargers win, and it's a 3-point swing either way, up to 11%. Eagles win, down to 5%. And the only real path that exists for this Dallas Cowboys team, frankly, is the division. They are technically alive if both the Niners and Bears, but the Bears also play these teams, and the Lions, like there's going to be wins involved there. It requires too much. A wild card path is essentially dead. The only hope for the Cowboys at this point, as the season winds down, is for the Eagles to continue their 2023-esque collapse. The problem with that, as we'll get into more tomorrow, hey, we'll see what happens against the Chargers. They've got 2 games against the already out Commanders, a game against the already out Raiders, and the Bills. They are not exactly in a prime spot. $5 super chat from JL Channel. Let me get you into the raffle as well, because even the midweek stuff counts. Hey, Tom, hopefully the Cowboys can sneak into the playoffs. Kind of mentioned that there for you. What do you think about Jaden Blue doing kick returns? Kevontae Turpin seems to have lost his magic. I would be a little bit surprised. I don't think that this team has much confidence in Jaden Blue right now. Also of note, he hasn't really done it before. He did it 3 times at Texas total. Had some brief looks at it in the preseason, whatever. I'd be a little bit surprised if they trusted him to that. I know he did a little bit this year too. 3 for 72. It's not like that's any different than Kevontae Turpin. Kind of wonder if it's a coaching thing to an extent. But yeah, Turpin, the entire special teams unit has been a pretty big disappointment outside of your kicker on field goals and your punter overall. The college football playoff rankings were revealed on Sunday. We were live for that on the Chat Sports YouTube channel. Depending on how things play out, we might once again do some college football playoff games here on the Cowboys Report. Who do you think will win the college football playoff this year? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Who do you think ends up coming out on top of the college football playoff this year? Is it one of the big 4? Is it somebody else? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. We'll give some shout-outs. Let's see. JB says Ohio State. You just got to talk, Aiden. I can't not talk. Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State. Let's see. Georgia. I think Indiana could make a nice run. Penn State. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Let's see. James Madison, Notre Dame. That's funny, too. By the way, I think Notre Dame quitting is a joke. I think them not going to a bowl game is rather embarrassing. I would love it if James Madison won. I think that would be the best possible outcome of, like, just sheer fun. There's, like, no chance it happens, but wouldn't it be nice? I think Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia A&M, maybe Oregon, but I'm not sold on them. Feel like you're pretty obvious contenders there. This is the Super Chat menu on today's show. Any Super Chat is a shout-out. $5 gets you into our raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shot, and $100 is a beer bong. That is the Super Chat menu on today's show. Any more Super Chats that come in, we'll get to after the next segment on today's live show. The Cowboys are on the verge of being out of the playoffs, but the season isn't over yet. And for a team with a first-time head coach, I think there are a lot of benefits to trying to win games down the stretch, especially as long as you are mathematically alive. So we're going to break down some changes the Cowboys should try to make to keep their slim season hopes alive. Before we get into it, we are live for every single Cowboys game. We're not going to change that anytime soon. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. YouTube.com/Cowboys TV. Join us as we rapidly approach 250,000 subs. Let's talk changes to make here. Some personnel, some like schematic, big picture stuff. Number one for me, can we please stop playing 59? It is time to bench Kenneth Murray. He is not a positive football player. His production this year, the 73 tackles leads the team. That tells you how bad the defense has been in general. By the way, just tackles don't mean anything. I feel like I can count on like my hands the number of like true impactful plays he has made over all of these snaps he's been able to play. They've dialed back the snap count. Sure, he's kind of splitting time with Logan Wilson, but I don't want to see him anymore. This is not a player who fits the run properly. This is not a guy who's making a bunch of high-end impact plays. He's athletic, and that's kind of the end of the positives. Now, PFF grades are PFF grades. You know, we don't have to love them. It's a data point, essentially. I would not presume to ever say, well, PFF says they're bad. That means they are bad. But look at these rankings and where Kenneth Murray grades out based on I think it's 20% snap count over the course of the season. So 95 qualifying linebackers as it relates to Kenneth Murray's grade. He is 92nd overall. He is dead last in run defense. The tackling seems fine, but I'm pretty sure PFF doesn't ding you if you don't fit the hole right properly and take yourself out of the play and therefore don't get a tackle attempt. And that's why the run defense is dead last among all NFL linebackers. Pass rush is a little bit above average, right around there. Coverage is well below average, 46.0. He is a negative football player. Please make Logan Wilson your starting middle linebacker. Or if you want to try Shamar James some, cool. You want to give Leafau another chance? Okay. I am kind of concerned that how many players on this Cowboys defense do you think are better under Matt Eberflus than what they were under Mike Zimmer last year? Leafau's gotten worse. Overshown's coming off the injury. I'm not going to overreact to that one. We'll talk about one thing that Skywalker Steele pointed out that I think is noteworthy on Overshown. Shamar James reminds me too much of Kenneth Murray with his instincts, but Shamar James is young. So, like, he could get better. Kenneth Murray at this point is not going to get better. I think it is time to bench him. Do you agree? And do you want to bench Kenneth Murray and stop subjecting my screen to him? Why for my eyes to him, I should say. Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number two, and again, this is kind of big picture stuff. Can you fix your special teams returns? Not your special teams overall, but just like the penalties you constantly incur on special teams and your lack of being able to cover kicks properly and your lack of impact returns. Like you're losing hidden yardage on these things. The Cowboys, I think this was going into the Monday night games, by the way. The third most penalties on special teams only for the second most yards. That doesn't include like the hidden yardage of like, we finally got a good return to the 45-yard line. 10-yard penalty actually ends up being back at their own 15, and it's a 30-yard net gain or net loss. That stuff has to happen. At his press conference on Monday, Brian Schottenheimer did hint at personnel tweaks on special teams. What those look like, I frankly don't know. Are you going to fix some of your gunners? Are you going to try to adjust some of your blockers? We'll see. Maybe they keep giving even more Sam Williams reps because he's been really good there. I don't know. But they got to try something else because it is not working on special teams. Nick Sorensen, unlike Matt Eberflus, was a Schottenheimer hire. He has to be better moving forward. Today's show is made possible by Bubs Naturals. I will not lie to you guys. I'm older now. They're calling me Unk in the comments, and I don't care for that there. But the joints are getting a little bit stiffer. The hair at least is not thinning. But I'm older now, and these things happen because, in part, starting in your mid-20s, your body naturally produces less collagen every single year, and that's where Bubs Naturals collagen peptides come in. They don't just make the cleanest and most effective collagen peptides in the world. They also sell electrolyte supplements, MCT oil creamer, and more. It is a tribute to former Navy SEAL Glenn Bub Daughtery, a national hero who gave his life saving Americans in Benghazi, Libya. His call sign was Bub, and Bubs Naturals honored him with part of this product. They are built to the highest standard. No junk. There's no sugars, sweeteners, or fillers. It's third-party tested, NF certified for sport, Whole30 approved, and sustainably sourced from grass-fed, pasture-raised cattle. Live better, longer. For a limited time, you guys are getting 20% off at bubsnaturals.com by using promo code CHAT at checkout. Simply head to bubsnaturals.com and use code CHAT, and you're all set. After your purchase, they might ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you here at the Cowboys Report. Put a percent off bubsnaturals.com by using promo code CHAT. Let's talk some schematic stuff on defense. You know, I'm not even going to try the man zone stuff anymore, but like, obviously run man. It is what it is. I'm going to backdoor my way into running more man coverage by blitzing more, essentially, here. But it's not just blitz more. It's blitz differently. The Cowboys, under Matt Eberflus, want to be bend but don't break. And that's great if you don't break. They are breaking. Not only that, they are shattering on defense. So if you're going to be bad, at least makes the occasional impact play and force a takeaway. Do something to make an impact play for yourself instead of just constantly getting into second and third downs and letting opposing teams still convert on you. Go for broke. You know, if you're going to allow 4 touchdowns, can I at least force a takeaway on one of those 5 drives instead of settling for a field goal and letting them be on offense for twice as long or whatever it is? The Cowboys blitz 26.1% of the time. That is just below league average. Eberflus, to his credit, has done blitzes. But I question if those are the right kinds of blitzes. They love blitzing the nickel corner with inconsistent success right now. And the results are frankly bad when blitzing. EPA per play-wise, they are allowing a higher EPA per play rate when blitzing versus when not blitzing. It speaks to kind of the damned if they do, damned if they don't scenario the Cowboys have found themselves in. But I think this is a great point from Sky Steele. When Zim realized what a weapon overshown was, he blitzed them 51 times in 2024. He had 5 sacks, 8 TFLs, 5 quarterback hits, and 20 pressures. He has blitzed twice in the 4 games he has returned. One of them ended up going for a TFL. Like, I don't understand it, and Sky's right on this point too. Why are you not trying to blitz DeMarvin Overshown? You know who's had success blitzing this year? Is Shamar James. Why isn't he blitzing more? Kenneth Murray is actually kind of solid as a blitzer. That's actually, I think, the thing he does best. So if you're going to blitz, cool, but like, can we try to bring Overshown? Like, I feel like this is several years in a row the Cowboys coaching staff doesn't know how to use their linebackers properly, and they will eventually figure it out. I don't have confidence in this coaching staff right now. It's hard to, because they're not doing the things that are working, and they keep playing off zone coverage, and it drives me insane. So what is your confidence level right now in Matt Eberflus? I guess you have to give him at least 1. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. 1 to 10 is your scale. Number 4, you have to give Trevon Diggs a shot. And this also might be, once you're eliminated, don't bother playing Trevon Diggs anymore. But for now, let's try it. If there is a chance you get the bad version of Diggs you've seen this year, or maybe teams stop throwing at him again and they just look at somebody else and maybe that corner can make a play for you finally, I'm down to give Diggs a shot when he's back, once he's healthy. I just, at this point, I don't know if it's going to work for him anymore in Dallas, but Savone Revel, I'm down to keep playing Savone Revel. Kalen Carson's been inconsistent. The coaching staff doesn't always seem to like him. Reddy Stewart is fine against the run, but I don't really want him out there in coverage a lot. He just kind of feels like he's a good backup. That's what he really is. I think your three best corners in some capacity are Bland, Revel, and Diggs. We'll see if they play like it, of course. That is a big question mark. So should Trevon Diggs be a starter? S, to start him. B, for let him sit on the bench. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. All of this was on the defense / special teams when it comes to that front. I do think the offense has some blame here as well. And in particular, they have been a slow starting team with a very run-heavy opening game script, by the way, under Brian Schottenheimer. Their last 4 games, they were down 6-3 at the end of the first quarter. They were down 21-0 in the late second quarter. They were down 14-7 to end the first quarter against the Chiefs. You can pick and choose where you want to mention the deficit against Lions. The largest was 27-9 at the end, or at the early third quarter period. The Cowboys haven't had a lead in the first quarter period since the Denver Broncos game. They were up 3-0 because they got a field goal early. That game ended up turning into a blowout. The last time the Cowboys had a lead at the end of the first quarter was the Commanders game. That was back in week 7 in October. It's a month and a half since the Cowboys have had a lead at the end of the first quarter. That stuff can't happen. The offense, the big complaint that is valid with the offense, can you finish off drives and start faster? Make life easier on your defense, because unfortunately, and this is the defense's fault more than anything, the defense is not going to be able to bail you out hardly ever. Mailbag time here on the Cowboys Report. Use hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat. We do have I updated the Prize Picks photo, so it should be good to go for you. Yeah, it should be in there if you want to peek at it real quick. Use hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat. Free, simple, and easy to do on that front. I think we had 1 or 2 Super Chats come in while we were in that last segment. Okay, Matt Temple, we'll get to him here in a little bit. Sometimes the studio side just decides to stop showing me Super Chats. So yeah, Matt Temple. I think we can hit Jay and really anybody. All the Super Chats I think we can re-hit. So I think that's fine. Get your questions in via hashtag Cowboys. Puts you in the queue for producer Aiden to find your question and bring it up on screen. Super Chats, we will get you a shout out on the show no matter what. A $5 Super Chat gets you into our weekly raffle here on the Cowboys Report. Game day raffle, I should say. $10 is 3 entries. $50 is a shot. And $100 is a beer bong. That is the Super Chat menu for you guys on today's show. As soon as Aiden gives me the thumbs up, we're all set. Sweet. Let's dive into today's mailbag. So last call to use hashtag Cowboys to get in on the show. Cino Green is killing me with some of the throwback names he's got out there. It's fun. I appreciate it. It's another Cowboys mailbag. I am Tom Downey, answering some super thanks that came in over the last week and change here. From William Cook, says, cut Murray today. He is one of the biggest problems on defense. Who is his sponsor? It's a great question. I would love to know who really wanted Kenneth Murray. One of the underlying issues I think this Cowboys team tends to face when it comes to player acquisition is they are too reliant on their pre-draft grades. And they go, well, like him coming out, we can fix him. And I think that was in part the case with Kenneth Murray, who they did like coming out of Oklahoma. And there were athletic traits to justify that but he hasn't developed anything beyond being a good athlete. I kind of feel like Matty Eberflus likes Kenneth Murray. I don't really know why, but whoever keeps playing him will be involved in my lawsuit against the Cowboys for intentional infliction of emotional distress if they keep playing him. Now, if you want into our weekly raffles and you can't watch live, that's fine. A $5 super thanks also gets you into the weekly raffles. Well, something signed pretty much each and every single week. CJ Baxter Burner, who unfortunately is going to have to change his name now that CJ Baxter's in the portal. We missed Jordan Lewis. This came in against the Lions game. Needed that energy and slot coverage. Also, trade-offs to everything. You don't have Micah. Now you don't have consistent pass rush. In principle, I still disagree with the trade. It's the same thing with Luka. I don't care if they got flagged. You typically don't trade generational talent. Got to invest in a safety in the first few rounds. Like, wouldn't it have been cool if the Cowboys had, like, taken the Micah savings? Because they still got plenty of money to do other stuff, like trade for Quinnen. They could have kept J. Lou and Tank Lawrence. And wouldn't we have felt better about that still? And you could have still afforded Quinnen too, by the way, just to be clear on that front. I agree overall. Like, I have long wanted a safety. Will the Cowboys ever give me what I want? I don't know. I don't know. Another one from William. I think George needs CeeDee to keep him engaged and on an even keel. They look like they sit together. They have a pretty solid bromance overall. It's a little bit of like the Angels on this shoulder and the Devils on this one, and it's CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Like, there's a little bit of that going on where, like, Pickens is an alpha. Like, he does have that attitude. Lamb doesn't really. Not that he's, a full-on coward, but, like, he doesn't have the same diva energy. Like, peak of Odell Beckham, crashing out, or, Stephon Diggs tweets or A.J. Brown comments. Like, there's not that stuff that you necessarily have to do with CeeDee Lamb. Get it occasionally more so with George Pickens. You almost want Pickens to bring, like, 5% more chaos out of CeeDee Lamb, and Lamb to, like, just, get Pickens to relax 10% and get that perfect balance going. Jonathan Mays, a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jonathan. Says, I love the content, brother. Can you give a shout out to Javonte Williams? He's played excellent and a big reason why the offense is so deadly. I think by far the best season out of Javonte Williams' career. Hasn't really been that much of a conversation. One thing I am curious about here as the rest of the year plays out. 3.5 yards per carry against the Chiefs, 3.9 against the Lions. I think he actually missed Tyler Guyton as a run blocker in that game. But also, seems to be slowing down just a little bit, and it'd be nice if they could have more success in the passing game with him. 4 targets, 0 yards against the Lions was a pretty big disappointment there. Would have been nice if Jaden Blue could have handled that role. But overall, aren't we thrilled with the results from Javonte Williams? Like, if I had told you Javonte for the season ran for 1,000 yards at 4.8 yards per carry, we would have been thrilled. To have that in early December is even better. So do you want to re-sign Javonte Williams? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Y for yes, N for no. $10 from Gavin. Now that we've seen some of the aftermath of the Micah trade, given the opportunity, we should go back in time to stop it. Watching the show was always a great part of my day. You're my sports analyst GOAT. Thank you, Gavin. I appreciate that. Happy holidays to you. If you could have found a way to just like also get Quinnen Williams, wouldn't that have been nice? Wouldn't that have been nice? My biggest issue was like the handling of it. I don't think the process was very good. Results can end up being fun, especially if they hit on these draft picks, but the process I don't think was very good. CJ DeYoung III. By the way, email me, CJ. You won one of the raffles. Hey, Tom, or at least respond to my email. How's Detroit's offensive line? Will Williams, this came in before the Lions game, will Williams be able to dominate up front? Worried about what Gibbs can do. How will our passes be against the offensive line? Kind of looked pretty accurate in the end, didn't it? Looked like he pegged some of the concerns up front. I thought Quinnen was actually pretty good as a pass rusher, but kind of a rough game elsewhere. Joshua, a $2 super chat. This also came in before the Lions game, but we haven't been live since then. Notice 43 Davis had a 43 touchdown. Kind of fun. Hats off to Malik Davis. The effort he has shown and all of that is fantastic. Zachary, a $2 super chat as well, says, let's go Cowboys with some of the hands up emojis. Appreciate that, Zach. Thank you very much on that front. More questions to come, but first, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right, and that is Prize Picks. They now have early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. One of the general football, i.e. not Cowboys-related, 3-pick power plays. Jamar Chase, less than receiving yards against the Ravens defense that had a rough showing against DK Metcalf, but Bengals are kind of on the brink and all but out of it right now. Shedeur Sanders very low more than, less than at 173.5. I love the more than against the shaky Bears defense, at least in terms of yards allowed. And I love Drake May more than passing yards, only 247.5. Love that one. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. Get those picks right, you could cash in. Now available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Some super chats. Matt Temple, $10. If we win out and go 10-6-1, I can still see us winning the division because I still see the Eagles collapsing. P.S. F the Eagles. Love that Matt is signing almost all of his super chats with that now. I'm not ruling out a collapse. It requires a lot of help still from Philadelphia. It's not ideal, but we'll see how it plays out. It's still technically possible. Even if you go 10-1 and you miss the playoffs, that's not a bad season. In most years, that actually gets you in. So I think relative to expectations, the Cowboys would have exceeded them if they do go 10-6-1. Option Poir, $5, says let Dak deal. How much would you say Dak is to blame for the loss against the Lions? I feel he was done dirty by the offensive line and coaching. I think like if you're tiering the problems the Cowboys had against the Lions, is Dak even in the top 10? I don't think so, because I think we're putting like almost all 11 defenders ahead of him, plus the defensive coaching staff, plus special teams, the non-existent ground game. Pickens having a down game, frankly. The interceptions weren't even his fault. I think it was not I think some of the probably took 1 or 2 sacks that were truly his fault, and that backwards pass was super weird, the fumble. But like again, I'm never going to be mad at the guy, whether it's the quarterback or whoever, that had like 5 bad plays out of the 50 he had, or whatever the number is, like the 60, whatever he had, given all the scrambles and stuff, and then ignoring the fact that one side of the ball had 5 good plays the entire time. That ratio does not make sense to me. Rocky Balboa, are you behind enemy lines today? Should the Cowboys tank? Look, it's a valid question. It's the NFL. It always gets brought up. I would be surprised if the Cowboys tanked, because most teams don't. They didn't tank last year. I would even go so far as to argue, because this is the first year of your new coaching staff, you're probably better off trying to actually build a bit of a better culture and build some winning. I don't think, especially this team, is able to just flip a switch and turn it off and on. I don't think they're good enough for that. I don't think there's very many teams that are good enough for that. I mean, the Chiefs kind of tried this year and it hasn't worked out for them, by the way. So I don't really want to tank. And also, with where you're at and with how the draft shakes out, you're not in a position to tank. You've won too many games already, and there's not a player who's going to be realistically available to tank for. Like, this year's class is not very good at the top. Unless you're picking like 3 or 4, it almost doesn't matter that much. So should Dallas tank? A for yes, B for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. JL Channel, a $5 super chat, says he's hopeful the Cowboys can sneak in the playoffs. How about Jaden Blue on returns? Turpin has lost his magic. Turpin is down, I think it's like 5 yards combined on average on kicks and punts. That's a massive figure, by the way. You're costing yourself yards. Not to mention the penalties. I think that's also a coaching issue, frankly. Cowboys gave Jaden Blue a couple chances this year on returns. Nothing crazy special. Hardly did it at Texas. I kind of think Blue's going to be a scratch all year long. Matt Temple, $5, not Cowboys related, but says my stepfather is a professor at James Madison, which changes JMU wins the national championship. Extremely low. Like I think a $5 bet might win you like $5,000 right now. Like it's just not going to happen. As fun as it would be. We got you covered here on the Cowboys Report. Win or lose, news, rumors, draft, free agency, previews, injuries. All of it is right here on the Cowboys Report. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Steven, I've heard people saying that they would trade the 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. I wouldn't. What are your thoughts? Also, offsetting penalties are a joke. There are moments where an offsetting penalty makes sense. It's just really frustrating when one of those offsetting penalties is like a 5-yard penalty and they committed a 15-yarder. That's brutal. But in general, I think there is merit to it. Actually, I would trade the 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Absolutely. The man's going to set the sack record this season. The Browns are not trading for 2 first-round picks. It's just not. It's not happening. Wayne Bruce. Okay, that's what you're going for there. Who is the dream draft pick? Arvell Reese? I will say, Arvell Reese has kind of cooled off the last month. He has not been as good as of late. Kind of not as impactful against Michigan, Indiana. Still has a college football playoff. I would take him still because I think maybe not for Eberflus, but I think he'd be a great fit for your defense. I would look at Caleb Downs as the dream name. I would love to get a safety. Now, safeties go later. Kyle Hamilton fell way further than he should have. And you might get some of the same conversation of like, I don't know how fast Downs is truly going to run. He does a lot of box stuff. The man's a football player. He's great. It's the issue for this year's class is that Hamilton draft had all kinds of top-end talent. This year's class does not. So, like, realistically, I kind of feel like maybe you can get C.J. Allen at some point in round 1, and maybe he ends up really fixing some of your linebacker woes. So name a player who you want to draft. Try to keep it realistic. I don't think Ruben Bain's going to be there for you either. With 6 wins is too many for Bain and Reese, and probably ends up being too many for Caleb Downs. But name a player you want to draft. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. YouTube Jay, do the Bucks matter? Maybe a little bit. It could potentially matter in terms of like how those two teams, the Bucks and Panthers, there's a scenario where they can both win a bunch of games, but at minimum they're going to have at least 7 losses, because they played twice still. So one of them probably ends up getting knocked out. Like I think the Bucks losing actually kind of helps like solidify there's only going to be one spot for an NFC South team as the division champ. So the Bucks will matter in terms of like what we're cheering for potentially against Carolina, but I think in reality, it's kind of the division or bust. There is a path for the wild card, but you're so far behind so many teams, you probably just need too much help. This is the Super Chat menu on today's show. $5 gets you a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 is the shot, and $100 is a beer bong. Samuel's back once again asking how pretty he is. You guys can vote 1 to 10 in the comment section of today's show as well. Clayton mentioned Mansour Delane. I would love him. I know how the Cowboys operate. Mansour Delane does not have long arms. He is not going to run a great 40-yard dash time. He is. I would be happily surprised, just like I would have been happily surprised if they were going to take Asante Samuel. He came out if he were a pick. Fun fact, I did see Kelvin Joseph advocating for a team to sign him on social media, and I was dying because I'm pretty sure he's still facing a jail sentence for vehicular manslaughter. Too funny. Who you got on Monday Night Football? E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Daniel mentions David Bailey. Good name there, too. It's a good name. It's a very good name. I worry he's going to get pushed up because of the edge needs, but strong name there. I'd probably take C.J. Allen over Sonny Styles, Vibe and Hydra. I think they're both really good, so it's fine. It's kind of like, half a dozen of one, 6 of the other, but I think I'd lean C.J. Allen. E for the Eagles, C for the Chargers. I am cheering for the Chargers. We are all cheering for the Chargers. I am not confident in that particular answer. E for the Eagles, C for the Chargers. Laughing at Micah's statement today. Top MVP candidates: Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love, and Dak Prescott. It's funny to me. Micah gets the game. His quarterback, the other quarterback he had, and then like the guy who's probably going to win it, Matthew Stafford. Oh, I don't see Drake May should be in the conversation too, but that's also my point. Like Micah Parsons ain't watching any Drake May. They don't play the Patriots. He's not familiar with his game right now. E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Let me know in the comments who you got coming up here tonight on Monday Night Football. Diluted Tick, a $2 super chat. More likely here next year, Diggs or Eberflus? Eberflus, pretty clearly. I don't even think it's that much of a conversation. Like, I don't think there's any chance Trevon Diggs is here. Now, maybe Diggs plays out of his mind the next couple games, but like the writing's been on the wall for months now that Diggs was not going to be back. Eberflus, I don't really want back. He's tried some different stuff, but like he then kind of immediately went back to being the normal stuff that he does. I didn't love that. I think there's a much better chance Eberflus is back, if only because it's like, it's not 1%, but 1% is infinitely higher than 0%. I think it's 0 for Diggs. If you guys want the Cowboys to beat the Eagles this week on Sunday Night Football, keep those slim playoff hopes alive. Show it by liking today's video right now, please, and thank you. It is a borderline elimination game. We'll see how it plays out for a couple of these teams. Minnesota could already be eliminated, but they're basically dead as it is. Cowboys hosting the Vikings in this one. Dallas, I've seen it as low as 6.5 right now is the spread in Week 15. This is a top 3 scoring offense in football. The Cowboys have been awesome this year, putting up points. They have been really bad at allowing points this year. They are 31st in points allowed. It's never a good sign when you have a top 3 scoring offense and your point differential is negative. It's a really bad sign for you as a football team. The Vikings offense that was so good has been bad this year, like really, really bad. The defense is still fringe top 10. So it's a matchup of strengths and weaknesses in this game. The very good Cowboys offense against the very good Vikings defense. A bad Vikings offense against a bad Cowboys defense. Minnesota, by the way, is mostly healthy. Not too much to keep an eye on before the injury reports come out. We'll see if anything popped up that we didn't know about from the game, but they're pretty healthy. The Cowboys, injuries to watch. Tyler Guyton, is he back from his high ankle sprain? Possible. CeeDee Lamb had extra days to recover from his concussion. The average recovery timeline is about 9 days to clear protocol. That would fit the timeline for Lamb to return. Clowney was a 50-50 game time call last week. He's got a hamstring. I think he plays. I'll keep an eye on Malik Hooker this week because he wasn't 100%. Didn't play the full amount of snaps last week. Was he on a pitch count or was he banged up again? We'll see. It's been a nagging issue for Hooker. A lot of pain involved there. And Trevon Diggs, a knee injury as well for Diggs. We'll see if he's activated from IR or not. Let's talk keys to victory. Number 1, can you actually protect your quarterback against a Vikings team that is going to do a lot of stuff to try to confuse the offensive line, confuse the quarterback, and bring a bunch of creative pressures? Teams have tried to heat up Dak Prescott more this year via blitzes. I think trying to take advantage of a specifically young offensive line. One veteran on this team, really. Tyler Smith is still technically on his rookie contract. There's a rookie right guard. Teams have had success with stunts off that right side, blitz stunts or just regular stunts. I expect Brian Flores to do a lot of weird stuff, and if they can't keep Dak Prescott upright, if they can't give him a regular allotment of time, things are not going to go his way. His team's way, period, frankly. Who we got in this one? C for the Cowboys, V for the Vikings. Let me know in the comments section of today's show who you got winning on Sunday night, C or V. Key to victory number 2. Can the defense just not suck? I'm not even asking to be good, but can you at least not allow 35 points a game again? Can you at least give this team a chance? The defensive stats this year are horrific. And they look better for a couple of games, and it's like, hey, maybe the Eagles and Raiders just have bad offenses. It's a very real possibility, guys. They are second to last in points per game, allowing 29.7. Yeah, you're going to be lucky to go 500 with that stuff. They are 31st in EPA per play. They're just moving the ball with efficiency there. The success rate is 30th. They have not been a good, efficient team either. It's not just big plays. It's all of it. 29th in yards per game, dead last in passing yards per game with 255. They're above average in rush yards per game, but the efficiency is bad because teams do whatever they want, and if you can do whatever you want, you're going to pass it because it gets you double the yards per play. I don't want to have a career game for J.J. McCarthy. I feel like that's what we're trending towards because he had a very good game against the Commanders, also a bad defense. Let's not have the 9 memes come back into play because it's a bad team. I'm really tired of this Cowboys defense allowing the best game of the season to feels like half the quarterbacks that they have faced. Don't let J.J. McCarthy kill you. Just make some plays. He misses throws. He has not been accurate this year. Take advantage of that and don't be terrible. Just be average. You get average defensive efforts every game, and you'd probably have 10 wins already. It bothers me. Also bothering me is getting old. I don't like that. The joints aren't the same. The recovery from workout sports aren't the same. And I'm 30 now. They're calling me Unk in the comments, which I really don't love there. But Bubs Naturals collagen peptides can help with this. Starting in your mid-20s, your body naturally produces less collagen every single year. And that's why I like Bubs Naturals collagen peptides. You can mix it into your smoothie or juice. I'm not a coffee drinker. Tasteless, odorless, and dissolves instantly. No clumps or no weird aftertaste. It's built to the highest standard as well. No junk. There's zero sugars, sweeteners, or filters. It's third-party tested, NSF certified for sport, Whole30 approved, and sustainably sourced from grass-fed, pasture-raised cattle. Trusted by over 100,000 customers and was named the best collagen of 2024 by Health.com. Live better, longer. For a limited time, you guys are getting 20% off at Bubs Naturals by using code CHAT at checkout. Head to bubsnaturals.com and use promo code CHAT and you're all set. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. That's promo code CHAT over at bubsnaturals.com. Now people are going to call me Unky more because I mentioned it on air. That's what I get. All right, key to victory number 3, Dak delivers. Overall, he's been pretty good this year. An average defense, kind of like the Bengals and Joe Burrow last year especially. Oh, man, we're talking about MVP stuff here. 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, plus some rushing touchdowns. How many interceptions? Not his fault. Several of them. 7.5 yards per attempt. You can look at a lot of like the advanced numbers, the EPA. They're all coming up top 5, top 10 minimum. It's all showing up like, this is really good. He actually leads the NFL in passing yards by over 200, by the way. Like, almost an entire game's worth of extra passing yards. QBR, if you like that, he's first, ahead of your normal expected guys like Drake May and Matt Stafford and Mahomes and the Jordan Love guys that have been so awesome this year. He has to play great, though. A B game from Dak is going to get you beat this year, and that's not fair. That's a organizational failure in the end, but he's got to have his A game. Right now, what is your confidence level in Dak Prescott? 1 to 10 is the scale. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. What is your confidence level in Dak Prescott? Number 4, key to victory. Can George Pickens bounce back? That was not a great performance. We can admit that. It's okay. It was not a great effort out of George Pickens last week against the Lions. I think Alex Smith did raise a valid point of like, he got a lot of man-on-man coverage for other guys, and that's great. But there were still plays he has to make. He left, and he knows it too. He left plays out there. He left opportunities out there. The Vikings are going to do some weird stuff. I'm very curious. I love Brian Flores' defense because I never know what we're going to get each week. And it's just like, sometimes it's like random BS go, and it works. So how do they attack Pickens and Lamb? I am very curious to see. But I need Pickens to make the plays that come his way. He's too good not to. And I suspect, much like how Brian Schottenheimer said they were going to get Lamb involved early after his bad game, I bet they try to get Pickens involved early too. So give me your score predictions. Mine to come at the end of today's video of the Cowboys and the Vikings. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Final key to victory. Can you actually start hot, or at least not start slow, and finish drives? It's been two big issues, especially in losses for this Cowboys team this year. Wild stat for you. The Cowboys' last lead during the first quarter at any point was against the Denver Broncos back in October, a 3-0 lead. That was the last time they had a lead, period, in the first quarter. The last time they ended a first quarter with a lead was against the Commanders. That was a 17-8 game all those weeks ago. We're talking week 8 and week 7. It's week 15. It's a quarter plus of the season. That is unacceptable. Even I like going for the 2-for-1 specialty, but you still got to benefit by taking the early lead still. That's what part of it is. Also got to be better in the red zone. For a top 3 offense, you would expect them to be better than dead league average in the red zone. When the Cowboys finish drives, they got a pretty good win record. When they don't finish drives, it's not nearly as good when they're, finishing 60% less in the red zone. The defense of the Vikings has been awesome. 3rd in the red zone this year. Cowboys defense, by the way, is bad in the red zone. Go figure. Reminder, folks, that we will be live for the Cowboys and the Vikings, live early for Sunday Night Football. Hit that sub button if you haven't already, youtube.com/CowboysTV. My final score prediction, I thought about making a 9 joke and doing like 19-29 or something like that. That'd be funny. I'm a little surprised how large that spread is. There is the potential for a rare blowout win for the Cowboys. Haven't had one of those in a while. I think primetime game, I think the Cowboys get the win. It's maybe not even as close as the final score indicates, but I do think Dallas gets the win over Minnesota to kind of, sort of keep those slim playoff hopes alive. Cowboys 26, Vikings 22. Some super chats coming in. We'll give some love to here. Julian Frazier is next up. Says, take Jacob Rodriguez, day 3, always in the right place and just a good football player. We overthink it too often. I'd take him on day 2 because he is always in the right place. Like, that guy is going to play in the NFL for a long time, and he's got all the right attitude stuff that you're looking for in a player. I don't know how early he goes because of the size-speed combination, but I think Julian is spot on. He's a good football player. Just take those guys. I think he can handle your green dot responsibilities in the NFL. You know, put him next to a guy in Overshown. I am down. I would absolutely take him. And he'll probably become more of a household name in the college football playoff because I don't know how many people were really locked into Big 12 games this year, like average people. But I think Julian, you're spot on. Who we got on Sunday night? C for the Cowboys, V for the Vikings. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. C for the Cowboys, V for the Vikings. Let me know who you got coming up on top on Sunday night. 92% voting in favor of the Cowboys, 8% voting in favor of the Vikings. We get those votes in. C for the Cowboys, V for the Vikings. We will be live for that game, so make sure you are subscribed as well. Live again on Thursday as well. We'll have some more coverage for you, plus multiple videos each and every single day. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV.